Hey everybody, Goosebumps or Dummies here, back at it again with another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Mummy Walks, which is the 16th book from the Series 2000 series. Now, let me just tell you up front, this is not a mummy story, but it does take place in that familiar setting of Egypt, and whilst it doesn't include familiar mummy things, it has some mummy stuff. But overall, it is completely different from what you're expecting. So, not only is this going to be a shocker for people, it might be a shocking surprise in a good way, because this one I don't see hatred for, but I also don't see a lot of, extreme praising, but I do see praise for this book, because it is not bad, even though it is a bit of false advertising. I mean, I wanted them feet, but, yeah. This book is a very interesting read, nonetheless, and is one of the most wildly different books in all of Goosebumps. So yeah, let's dive in. And now for the non-existent blurb. Yeah, there's no blurbs in the Series 2000, so I have to go off memory. Sucks because I read this book 10 months ago, but I still remember it vividly, so here we go. Kid named Michael. That was the only thing I had to look up as the name. He's going to visit, I believe, his grandma or aunt in Orlando. And when he's boarding the plane, his parents slip him a note. And it reveals that they may or may not be his parents. And then shit goes haywire from there. This plane seems to be hijacked. He's sent to Egypt. And he's revealed to be a certain figure prominent in Egypt. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, kind of vague for you. And it's insane. It is an insane ride of a story, and I highly enjoyed The Mummy Walks for it, while being false advertising. A really good story, nonetheless, with some of the most different stuff, because you can tell, this book jumps into action, and speaking of which, there's a lot of action. It jumps into stuff immediately. Waste no time. After Chapter 1, you already know stuff's going down. Shit's crazy, because the end of Chapter 1 is to reveal of this kid's parents aren't his parents, and then the plane gets hijacked, and everything goes from there. So yeah, it's wildly different, but is that a good thing or a bad thing? Let's find out. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's one of my upsides, actually. What'd you think? I was gonna do my downsides like, you know what I mentioned earlier? That was not a good thing. No, it's actually a great thing. I love different Goosebumps books. It's why I love Beast from the East. It's why I love Earth Geeks. Yeah, this is just one of those books that is wildly different while still being a bit familiar, which is also nice. Because it's not the most different book of all Goosebumps. I won't even put it like top 5, I don't think. But it is definitely different, mostly because of its change of pace. It's different kind of story. It doesn't waste time. It doesn't have build-up. It goes straight into shit. And whilst it has some build-up, of course, you gotta have some tension. It doesn't have the usual build-up where it's building up this huge reveal. No, it doesn't waste any fucking time, and within the first 30 pages, you know a lot about this story. There's little to no reveals left after that. And then after that point, it's gonna be just a joyride, which is another whole thing. It's a really entertaining book. It's above average, actually, in terms of entertainment, because it's so wild and crazy and violent. Another upside is one of my Goosebumps, I don't want to say the kink, but kinks. I love dark stories in Goosebumps. I love it when they push limits, and for just seeing a Series 2000 books, you can kind of expect it to. And yes, it does. There's warfare. I'm not kidding. There's warfare in this book. There are shots fired, if you know what I mean, alright? There's some gunplay. Yeah, that is not something that ever happens in Goosebumps. I think I've only seen that one other time, and it might have been Werewolf in the Living Room, the book right after this, actually. But even that, I don't think was actually in there. And if it was, definitely not in this way, because people get shot. That's insane. Not to mention kidnapping, hijacking, and just a lot of other crazy things that go on in this story. Yeah, this story is dark because of the bullets, you know? And also, kidnapping. Like I said, it's a really dark and violent and wild story, and it contributes to all the other things, the entertainment and the different story layout. So, if I had anything else to mention besides those 3 key upsides, The Mummy Walks is not only very entertaining, but it is just a generally well thought out story. It has reveals later on, which are nice because you're like, okay, I don't want the reveals at the beginning to be the very last reveals. And at the end, there are some reveals, and whilst I don't think they're great, it's at least nice to have them. There's some nice tension throughout the story. There's a sense of dread because this character has impending doom. You know some characters are evil that the main character isn't fully aware or, just doesn't want to deal with, and you're scared of how things are going to turn out. So there's nice tension, nice dread, and just, it's a great ride. Whether you like it or not, I think a lot of people can agree that, yeah, this was obviously going for something grand here. This is not the average decent story, and I can really appreciate that at the end of the day. So yeah, let's get to my downsides. False advertising. That's about it. Yeah, it's like my only issue, but we'll get into one other smaller thing. I don't like false advertising in Goosebumps. It feels like I'm being lied to, which is, well, the truth. I'm being lied to if there's no mummy in this book, and whilst it does happen, it's like barely part of the story. It's really disappointing, because you want a grand mummy story. I believe a book that did this way better, actually not way better, they're literally the same exact score, but like higher in ranks better, Night of the Living Mummy, which came out very recently. It does stuff like this. It has some violent elements, some dark themes, but it does throw the mummy shit in there. But this book, not a lot of mummy stuff, which is just like, it wouldn't be an issue if this were just called, I Was Kidnapped and Sent to Egypt, or some crazy title that doesn't involve mummies. No, this is called The Mummy Walks, and the only thing that really has to do with the book is like, well, it's a birthday party no return situation where it barely has to play into the book. And the title is set in the book. It's one of those books. Yeah. Also, my only other issue, the ending's lame. Let me just tell you, can you take a big guess what the ending is? The Mummy Walks. I know. Crazy. Let's get to my rating. And I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. An extremely high score this book is getting. There is little to no compliments I can give to it anymore. I've already given it all of the compliments I could give it. Besides the fact that it is false advertising, it's kind of a lame ending, which is pretty average for Series 2000 anyways. This book was just amazing. It's like taking a nice cold glass of water after having the worst jog of your life. Like, it was just a fucking treacherous thing. Or like you were taking a hike in like 100-degree weather. That's how good this book feels. It is so different, but it's so refreshing in that way. And it's super nice. It has some dark stuff. It has great character moments and characters in general. Great twists. And a nice change of pace for the franchise. With, of course, a phenomenal artwork attached to it. One of my least favorites, sadly, from Series 2000, but still, it's great. Minus the fact that, don't even get me started on feet. I don't know what Jacobus was smoking for books 16 and 17, but there was some feet shit going on. Jacobus, what were you doing there, man? But anyways, great book, highly recommend. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think of The Mummy Walks below if you have read it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.